Hello everyone, this is Bill Griffin. Welcome to Different Take Podcast. I really appreciate you watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment if you like this content. Today I want to talk about the elections last week, November 8th. As of this, today is November 14th. 6 days later, a lot of races aren't known. That doesn't help trust. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to start with this video of a person on the television show The View. I don't watch The View. I guess people see value in this, and I don't know why from what I've seen of the clips. But this, one of the people on the show, her name is Sunny Hostin. Maybe I shouldn't say her birthing person because she had missed having a son. She votes for her son, and she's talking about that openly.
People, put that phone down, girl. God bless you.
It's my son. Who, by the way, wanted to make sure that his absentee ballot was that I did that. And I had trouble actually voting for him absentee ballot today. And that made me very concerned. It was the first time. I was told to put it in an orange bag on the floor. And the orange bag looked to me like a Target bag or something. And I said, isn't there a formal election box that says absentee ballots or something like that? And then she said, let me check. And then found it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that concerned me.
Right.
So she admits this freely on national television that she voted for her son. Some people call it a crime. It's not a prosecutable crime. So it's sort of like admitting that you sped down a highway. Nobody can prove it. So this is the way we've gone. We don't care about voting in secret. And that's a big problem for a lot of people, including myself, voting by mail or voting with drop boxes and that sort of thing, is returning your ballot in a drop box that you received in the mail or however you received it. It's not done in secret. So that's what a lot of people, including myself, have a problem with. At the risk of being called an election denier, it's very difficult for me to trust the results reflect the true will of the citizenry. So this is State Democrat, State Representative Greg Kennard and I talking about this very thing. And note his body language and his demeanor along with his words. He seems to be clueless as to what the question is. So check this out. So let me ask this. Is it unreasonable for citizens to believe that voting ought to be done in secret? Is that unreasonable?
What do you mean by in secret?
Meaning in total confidence.
Okay, so not at a election office, not at a voting precinct, in public?
No. That's well, my voting experience when I first started voting was in total secrecy. There was a claw. You pulled a curtain and nobody knew who you voted for.
Well, the last few times I've voted in Gwinnett County, there are petitions between the voting.
Right, but that you can't. There's no guarantee of being able to do that when you vote by mail. So if you get a ballot in the mail, there's it arrives at your house, and you might not ever. It's possible you may never even see the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody wants to observe you vote. All right, it could be anybody, your dad, your mom, neighbor, whomever, your pastor, whoever.
I've never understood that to be an issue that I've ever even thought about.
So what we're talking about there is obvious to Mr. Kennard, but he pretends as if he doesn't know what I'm talking about, that voting by mail can't be done. There's no guarantee that it's done in secrecy. So the issue is you can seed, sell, if you wish, your vote. You're subject to intimidation or coercion or harassment. You saw this lady on The View. We don't know what her son really wanted to do with his vote because she voted for him. But Mr. Kennard is clueless. So that's typical reaction with Democrats. I interviewed several Democrats on this subject, and they're perfectly fine with voting by mail and people doing what Sonny Hostin just said she was going to do, vote for another person. So that's one issue with the election that apparently isn't going to go away. I don't get it. In my opinion, voting ought to be done same day, paper ballots, in secrecy. I think those three things are very important, and the results ought to be known that night. There's no reason not to do that in the world we live in. This is, as I said, this is November 14th. The election is November 8th. 8 days later, and you have, according to Real Clear Politics, there's only been 26% of the vote reported in Massachusetts District 7 House race, United States House race. There are 52 United States House seats in California. The vote that's been reported ranges from 38 to 80%. This is primarily due to mail-in ballots. Something that takes that long to report, there's no reason for this. Why would you write the law so that some states report immediately and those that don't, like California, how do you trust the results? A lot of people will not trust the results. In my state, even though it was reported early, the results were reported early, which is good. You have voting by mail. You have a lot of rules involved with that. You have early voting, a lot of rules, a lot of resources thrown at 3 weeks of early voting. You have voting with machines. You have a lot of rules with that. There's a lot of technical things that go into that. You have drop boxes with mail-in ballots. There's a lot of rules with that. There's a lot of workers and supposedly checks and balances for security, make sure the results are what the votes reflect. That all seems very convoluted to me. It all seems set up. All this seems set up, especially voting by mail, that it doesn't matter who wins. The losers are going to say the election was improper. This is going to happen as long as this system continues and you don't get back to simple processes. But you're an election denier if you question the processes. Now, some people will say same day, in person, mail, it can't be done. It's going to be too inconvenient. People will just want to show up and stand in line for 2 hours when the window's 12 hours. The state is throwing a lot of resources at elections now. I don't understand this concept that you can't vote that day. But why not make it 2 days at most and skip the voting by mail altogether? I will never trust the voting by mail will reflect the true will of the people because of the reason I said earlier. It's not done in secrecy. This is not an unimportant thing. And the media will portray people that have this view as pariah, as someone who is in favor of suppressing the vote. All I'm saying is you can't trust votes that aren't done in secret. This is skipping to a little bit different subject because I see these all the time, these PSA ads. Call them PSA, but they're not done by the government. This is an NFL, this is done by the NFL Go Vote message.
Yo, Deshaun, how about I only block 60% of the time?
All right, big fella. I'm just going to use my left arm for 60% of my passes.
Coach, I'm only showing up for 60% of the practices. Cool?
I'm only coaching to win 60% of the games anyway.
Only 60% of y'all voted in 2016? That's not gonna get it done. We can't win if we don't play.
Register.
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 Register to vote.
So in this ad, there's no mention of, well, go and educate yourself on the candidates. It's just go vote. And they're just dumb. It's not terribly, I don't know that they're that effective. And people can vote for whatever reason they want to. You don't like the color of someone's hair, go vote. It's your right to vote for whoever you want to. I think it's dumb to vote for someone or something and you have no idea. Say, for example, I vote in primaries. I'm a pretty informed voter, and I don't see a party affiliation. And I do not know anything about either candidate. I do not vote on that race. Now, this NFL ad, and I don't understand what does the NFL, why do they have a stake in how many people vote? I don't get that. But you see the NBA runs these ads, and you see a lot of these ads, go vote, go vote, go vote. And you didn't even hear the date that the election's going to take place in that ad. So I think that's just sort of a PR campaign, PR thing for the NFL. Do they really care if you vote or not, or if 60% vote? This is a video of John Stossel a few years ago talking about, well, what's wrong with not voting if you really don't know anything about the candidates? And a lot of people, I'm sure, you have to know people in your life that are not political. They don't follow the news. They don't check out the differences between the candidates or what they stand for. And why should they vote? And you may be informed and still not want to vote. So what's wrong with that? That's your right not to vote. And this is John Stossel talking about that.
I took these blown up photos of Ron Paul, Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, showed them to people outside the studio. I figured some wouldn't know who Ron Paul was, but surely everyone would know who Mitt and Newt were. Wrong. Do you know who this is?
I know his face, but I can't think of his name.
Tom Brokaw?
Looks like Will Ferrell.
You know who this is?
Newt Romney.
Who's this guy?
I don't know.
How about this? You know who this is?
The situation.
He's a character on a sleazy reality show. Yet more people knew him than knew important politicians.
Situation!
This is one reason I say those get out the vote drives are dumb. They hold them at rock concerts. I run my what do you know test there, and many of the young people had no clue about national affairs. It's fine that most of them don't vote. That's appropriate self-selection. Those of you who don't pay attention will be less likely to vote. Good. But I take...
And John Stossel, exactly right. He is viewed as sacrilege, as he put it, and as to even suggest that you should not vote if you're not informed. I have no problem with saying, if you're not informed, please don't vote. I don't understand why it's your right to do it. You can go do it, as I said, for any reason, but it's just either get informed or don't vote. That's my opinion. In my state, Georgia, we have, you can request a mail-in ballot. I don't vote that way, but I'm sure it's very convenient. My voting experience was I voted early. I didn't see a distinction between voting early or the same day. The process is the same if you do voting in person. Our state, you can request a voting by mail. You have voting machines. As I said, it's very convoluted, but the pitch from the Republican Party, and I thought this was a really dumb slogan, was it's easier to vote and harder to cheat with the rules that they put in place. And of course, you remember Major League Baseball moved their All-Star game. The CEO of Coca-Cola in Atlanta and Delta in Atlanta came out and said, it's a terrible law, this new voting law, which allowed for voting by mail. I think it's a terrible law because it allows voting by mail. And as I said, if I know you can vote by mail, then why can't I vote for you if, for example, you live in my household? I'll just get the ballot and I'll vote for you. You may not ever even know you got the ballot or that I voted for you. And this is unenforceable. I won't do that, but a lot of people I know will do that. We know they will. So that's for those reasons. That's my big issue with this last election. We're going to see this over and over and over again as long as you have voting by mail. People will not trust. Vast majority of people will not trust the results. And as I said, one of the big things that ought to happen, and it doesn't matter which party, whichever one loses, they will not trust the results. This will be questioned over and over again. Will I have secure elections with results that people trust? And voting by mail, you're never going to trust that. A lot of people will not trust that. So that's my episode today. Please let me know what you think. If you like the content, subscribe, like, share, comment. Appreciate you watching.